प्रॉपर्टी नहीं, हमारे बाबा अजदाद की गाढ़े खून की कमाई की प्रॉपर्टी है।
As a proud Indian Muslim, I will not lose an inch of my masjid. Forget about a masjid.
Can they tell even a single clause now where this Khanka masjid will be taken by the government after enactment of this law of the Waqf?
The parliament is getting ready for a stormy week amid speculation that the government is set to bring the Waqf Amendment Bill for passing in both the houses of parliament. The All India Muslim Personal Law Board has launched countrywide protests saying the new law is against Muslims. Multiple opposition-ruled states have passed resolutions against the bill, and the opposition parties in parliament are united against it as well.
इतिहास के अंदर ये काले अक्षरों के अंदर लिखा जाएगा.
All this is raising a big question. Is a protest on the scale of the one against the Citizenship Amendment Act being planned? Is this even justified after nearly a 5-month-long JPC exercise that has produced an exhaustive report of 944 pages, including nearly 300 pages of dissent notes from the opposition members? Hello, this is Aman Sharma and welcome to this edition of Homework, where we discuss threadbare the Waqf Amendment Bill, arguably the most politically contentious legislation to come in this term of the BJP government. First, let me explain in simple terms what is Waqf. Well, Waqf is a permanent dedication of movable or immovable property for religious, pious or charitable purposes. The management of Waqf properties is governed by the Waqf Act 1995 and is overseen by state Waqf boards and the Central Waqf Council. There are 8.72 lakh registered Waqf properties spanning an area of 37.39 lakh acres in the country. However, only 1,088 properties of them have registered Waqf deeds and only 9,279 other properties have ownership rights establishing documents. Now, what are the drawbacks of Waqf? Number one, there is a lack of inclusivity with marginalized Muslim communities like the Afghanis, the Bohras, the backward Muslims, women, as well as non-Muslims getting little representation. This is even though Waqf properties are endowed by various Muslim sects. It raises questions if Waqf is working for the welfare and upliftment of the disadvantaged communities and the poor, who are excluded from the benefits of Waqf and remain excluded from decision making as well. Women, the Paswanda community and non-Muslims are virtually entirely excluded from Waqf governance.
वक्फ के नाम पर एक भी कोई इन्होंने वेलफेयर का काम किया हो, एक भी नहीं आप गिना सकते.
Another big drawback is the Section 40 of the Waqf Act, which allows the Waqf board to declare any property as Waqf based on information collected by itself, which it has a reason to believe to be Waqf property.
Microsoft, ISB, Wipro, everything has come on Waqf land. Buildings per building. International airport has come up on the Waqf board land.
But this has led to big disputes. One can challenge this before a tribunal presently, whose decision will be final. One cannot go to the courts and appeal. There is also widespread encroachment. Nearly 60,000 Waqf properties are encroached. Now, what is the government planning to do? I will break it down into the 5 big changes. Number 1, the Waqf deeds have been made compulsory. So, all property details must be uploaded on a portal within 6 months. Any government property declared as Waqf before or after the Waqf Amendment Act 2025 will not be considered Waqf property. An officer above the rank of a collector will conduct an inquiry as per law to determine whether Waqf property is government property or not. All this is expected to provide clarity on ownership and avoid unnecessary litigation. To ensure the creation of Waqf is genuine, only individuals practicing Islam for at least 5 years will be able to dedicate property to the Waqf. The person must legally own the property and be competent to transfer or dedicate it. This is the number 2 big change that the government is planning to bring. Number 3, the Section 40 that allowed the Waqf board to declare any property as Waqf will no longer exist. This is to rationalize the power of the Waqf board. Also, the tribunal decisions will no longer be final. Appeals can be filed in the High Court within 90 days. A district collector will verify the genuineness of the registration applications. Also, there will be at least 2 Muslim women in the Central Waqf Council and the State Waqf Boards, and 1 member each from the Bohra and the Agikani communities in the State or UT Waqf Boards. Muslims belonging to the backward classes will be part of these boards too. The boards will also have 2 non-Muslim members. This is a major contentious provision which the Muslim groups have been objecting to. Also, state governments can also establish separate Waqf boards for the Bohra and the Agakani communities. All this is with the idea of promoting inclusivity and diversity in Waqf property management. A very important provision is that the long-standing Waqf properties like mosques and graveyards are being given protection under the Waqf Amendment Bill. Well, some properties in the past became Waqf based on their long-term use for religious or charitable purposes, even without formal documentation. While this provision will no longer be there as Waqf deeds are now becoming compulsory, protection will be given to Waqf properties like masjids and qabristans already registered with the Waqf boards on or before the commencement of this act, unless they are disputed or classified as government property. But all this has neither satisfied the All India Muslim Personal Law Board or the opposition members who say the law is being brought in with communal intentions. The board has called for nationwide protests, saying the new Waqf law is against the Muslims and a conspiracy to usurp Waqf properties. There was a protest at Jantar Mantar attended by opposition leaders from the Congress and the Samajwadi Party as well as Asaduddin Owaisi. All India Muslim Personal Law Board protests in Bihar and Andhra Pradesh, in fact, are aimed at pressurizing the respective state governments led by Nitish Kumar JDU and Chandrababu Naidu's TDP, both of which are allies of the NDA. Mr. Owaisi is in fact saying that these 2 allies, if they don't back the government, the Waqf Act will not become a reality.
और चंद्रबाबू नायडू, नीतीश कुमार, चिराग पासवान और जयंत चौधरी, याद रखो, हम कभी भी तुम्हारी इस चीज को माफ नहीं करेंगे.
But so far, both these parties, the JDU as well as the TDP, seem to be on the side of the NDA after the amended act is being brought to Parliament. Well, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board has also asked Muslim men to offer the Alvida Jummah Friday prayers last week with a black armband on their kurtas, and in many mosques, the Friday sermon was used to alert the community to the repercussions if the bill is passed by Parliament this week. The line from the board is clear. If this bill is passed, hundreds of mosques, eidgahs, madrasas, graveyards, and numerous charitable institutions will be taken away from Muslims. This is what the board is saying. The most vociferous voice against the bill inside the JPC and now outside is Asaduddin Owaisi. He terms the new law alike to firing bullets at the chest of the Muslims and targeting of the mosques and the dargahs. Owaisi questions how non-Muslims could become members of the Waqf board when only Hindus and Sikhs can be members of the temple and Gurudwara boards respectively. He goes to the extent of saying that this law is a part of the Hindutva agenda to prevent Muslims from following their Shariat and their religion. Muslims cannot stay silent on the bill. This is what Mr. Owaisi is saying.
किस बुनियाद पर इस बिल में आप नॉन मुस्लिम को मेंबर बना रहे हैं और इसीलिए वक्फ को बचाने के लिए नहीं लाया जा रहा है. ये वक्फ को खत्म करने के लिए और वक्फ बोर्ड को सिर्फ एक पोस्ट ऑफिस बना के रखना चाह रहे हैं.
On the other hand, some prominent Hindu voices are also not happy with the new law, saying in fact that it is too weak and does not address the real drawbacks of the existing Waqf Act. Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain, who is behind many major cases like the Gyanwapi dispute in Varanasi or the one in Sambhal, says that the JPC did not incorporate many of his key suggestions when he deposed before it. He advocates that the Waqf Act provision should not apply to private properties of Hindus too, and those under the charge of the ASI. The new law only puts properties of the government out of the Waqf domain. Vishnu Jain also wants Section 28 and 29 of the Waqf Act repealed, which provide for the district administration carrying out orders of the Waqf board and empowers the Waqf board to see records of the government.
Section 28 says that whatever the order will be passed by the Waqf board, the district administration is bound to carry out those orders. Isn't it shocking for this entire country that Waqf board will pass the order and district administration is bound by the orders of the Waqf board. This is discriminatory and is in violation of Article 14, 21, 25 of the Constitution of India.
So what is the government's strategy as it prepares to bring the Waqf Amendment Bill before the Parliament? The government is defending the new law, saying some are trying to do scaremongering and are misguiding the Muslims. The government describes the new law as a crucial reform to enhance transparency, ensure gender equality, and streamline Waqf administration while addressing concerns relating to misuse and unauthorized occupation. Government ministers are saying that the amendments reflect a balanced approach, incorporating diverse perspectives and protecting the rights of beneficiaries, particularly women and marginalized communities. By strengthening governance and accountability mechanisms, the amendments aim to modernize Waqf management while preserving its religious and charitable intent. This is what the government's stand is. The new law will also ensure that adequate potential of Waqf properties is utilized, significantly benefiting the poor and women, and establishment of essential institutions such as hospitals, schools, colleges, and orphanages, directly contributing to the welfare and the upliftment of the poor. The government also intends to provide financial security and end social marginalization of widows, divorced women, and orphans in the Muslim community. The government feels that without these reforms, Waqf governance will continue to face inefficiencies, legal conflicts, and public grievances. Ensuring inclusivity is the essential for Waqf institutions to fulfill their intended purpose and maximize their impact on society. This is what the government's stand is. The Modi government is denying any communal tones in the new law. The fact remains that the Waqf boards are administrative bodies, not religious institutions. In fact, the core function of the Waqf board is regulatory, not religious. The government says it is mostly poor Muslims who are suffering from the mismanagement of the Waqf boards, and that the Waqf property crisis is affecting even the Muslim community. The government describes the new law as a progressive shift in India's approach to Waqf governance and a progressive precedent for Waqf administration globally. Will the government bring the Waqf Amendment Act this week in this session of Parliament, or will it be put off for another session of Parliament given that the Bihar elections are coming up? Well, we will be back next week with another edition of Homework with the latest updates. Thanks so much for watching.